In the vast silent void of space, the spaceship Elysium drifted in a steady orbit around a distant, uninhabited planet. Inside the ship, life stirred for the first time in centuries. Dim lights flickered on, illuminating rows of cryogenic pods. Hissing sounds filled the chamber as the pods began their thawing process. One by one, the occupants awakened from their long, frozen slumber. Dr. Aaron Mills was the first to open his eyes, blinking against the harsh light. His mind struggled to piece together fragmented memories of a time long past. He remembered volunteering for a project that promised a better future for humanity, but everything else was a blur. Slowly he sat up, his joints stiff and aching from centuries of immobility. Next to him, Captain Maya Stone groaned as she regained consciousness. A seasoned military leader, her instincts kicked in immediately, and she scanned the unfamiliar surroundings with a mixture of caution and curiosity. "Where are we?" she asked, her voice hoarse. Finn Parker, a young but brilliant engineer, was the third to wake. He rubbed his eyes and looked around, disoriented. "This doesn't look like Earth," he muttered, trying to shake off the remnants of his deep sleep. As more members of the team began to wake, confusion and fear spread among them. They all remembered the same thing: volunteering for a mission to preserve humanity's knowledge and culture during a time of great uncertainty. But they had no idea how long they had been asleep or what had happened since. A voice crackled over the intercom, calm and authoritative. "Attention, newly awakened crew members. This is Commander Nathan Reyes. I understand you have many questions. Please proceed to the briefing room for a full explanation of your current situation." Dr. Mills, Captain Stone, and Finn exchanged wary glances but complied. They made their way to the briefing room, where they found a tall, stern-looking man waiting for them. His uniform was different from theirs, indicating a different era. "Welcome aboard the Elysium," he began. "I'm Commander Nathan Reyes, and I will bring you up to speed." The newly awakened crew settled into their seats, a mixture of anticipation and anxiety palpable in the air. Commander Reyes stood before a large interactive display screen that dominated one wall of the briefing room. With a wave of his hand, the screen lit up, showing a holographic image of Earth. "Let me start from the beginning," Reyes said, his voice steady and clear. "You were part of a project initiated in the early 21st century, designed to preserve the best and brightest minds of humanity during a period of global crisis. You were frozen and sent aboard the Elysium, programmed to awaken when the time was right." He paused, letting the information sink in. "That time is now. It is the year 2400. You have been in cryostasis for nearly 4 centuries. Gasps and murmurs of disbelief spread through the room. Dr. Mills felt a cold chill run down his spine. 4 centuries. It was almost incomprehensible. Reyes continued. "Approximately 200 years ago, an alien race known as the Zorathi invaded Earth. They are a technologically advanced and ruthless species that enslaved the human population and established a tyrannical regime. Our planet, our home, has been under their control ever since." Captain Stone clenched her fists, her military instincts taking over. "What are we doing about it?" she demanded, her eyes blazing with determination. Reyes nodded, as if expecting her reaction. "The Elysium has been orbiting this uninhabited planet, gathering resources and building a resistance. We have allies, both human and alien, who share our goal of freeing Earth from Zorathi oppression. Your awakening is a critical part of our plan. We need your expertise, your knowledge, and your leadership to turn the tide." Finn leaned forward, his engineering mind already whirring with possibilities. "What do we know about the Zorathi's technology and defenses?" Reyes activated another part of the display, showing schematics of Zorathi ships and weapons. "Over the years, we've managed to gather significant intelligence. They have formidable technology, but we've identified potential weaknesses. We have a plan to exploit these weaknesses, but it will require precision and coordination." Dr. Mills, still grappling with the enormity of the situation, asked, "What about Earth? What has happened to the people?" Reyes's expression darkened. "The Zorathi have enslaved much of the human population, forcing them to work in mines, factories, and on agricultural projects that serve their empire. Resistance movements have sprung up, but they are fragmented and under constant threat. Our goal is to unite these movements and launch a coordinated assault to reclaim our planet." The room fell silent as the gravity of their mission settled in. They had awakened to a world vastly different from the one they had left, but their purpose was clear. They were humanity's last hope to reclaim Earth and restore freedom to their people. Reyes ended the briefing with a steely resolve. "Prepare yourselves. We begin our fight to reclaim Earth immediately. Your skills and courage will be the key to our success. Welcome to the Resistance." The Elysium cruised silently through the vast expanse of space, heading toward the coordinates where a Zorathi patrol ship had been spotted. Captain Maya Stone, now fully briefed and in command of the mission, stood on the bridge alongside Finn Parker and Dr. Aaron Mills. "Approaching target," the navigation officer announced. On the main screen, a sleek, menacing Zorathi vessel came into view. "Ready weapons," Captain Stone ordered, her voice steady. "We'll approach under the guise of a derelict ship. Finn, can you rig a signal to mask our power signatures?" Finn nodded, his fingers flying over the console. "On it. We'll look like space debris until we're right on top of them." The tension on the bridge was palpable. This was their first direct engagement with the enemy, and the outcome would set the tone for their future encounters. As the Elysium drifted closer, the Zorathi ship remained unaware of their presence. Captain Stone held her breath, counting down the seconds. "Steady, steady, now, all weapons, fire." A barrage of laser fire erupted from the Elysium, slamming into the Zorathi vessel. The enemy ship, taken by surprise, reeled from the impact. However, the Zorathi quickly recovered, retaliating with their own formidable arsenal. "Shields holding at 80%, the tactical officer reported. "Their weapons are powerful, but we've got the upper hand for now." The battle raged on, the two ships exchanging volleys of energy blasts. Captain Stone's tactical acumen and the Elysium's superior maneuverability gave them an edge, but the Zorathi ship was heavily armored and refused to go down easily. "Target their engines," Captain Stone commanded. "We need to disable them and retrieve any intel we can." Finn redirected the ship's main cannons, focusing on the Zorathi's propulsion systems. After a few precise shots, the enemy ship's engines erupted in a fiery explosion, rendering it dead in space. "Boarding teams, prepare to launch," Captain Stone ordered. "Dr. Mills, you're with me. Finn, you stay here and monitor the ship's systems." The boarding team suited up and boarded a shuttle, quickly making their way to the crippled Zorathi vessel. Inside, they encountered fierce resistance from Zorathi soldiers. The alien warriors were tall, with tough, scaly skin and eyes that glowed with an eerie blue light. Captain Stone led the charge, her combat skills proving invaluable as they fought their way through the narrow corridors. Dr. Mills provided support, using a modified pulse rifle to disable Zorathi attackers without causing fatal injuries. Finally, they reached the ship's command center. The Zorathi captain stood defiantly, a snarl on his lips. "You dare board my ship," he hissed. Captain Stone didn't hesitate. "We're taking back what's ours," she replied, her voice ice-cold. With a swift motion, she incapacitated the Zorathi captain and secured the control room. Dr. Mills accessed the ship's database, downloading crucial information about Zorathi defenses and fleet movements. "Got it," he said, his eyes gleaming with triumph. This data could turn the tide. Returning to the Elysium, the team felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had faced the enemy and won, gaining valuable intel in the process. The fight for Earth had truly begun. Back aboard the Elysium, the crew analyzed the data retrieved from the Zorathi ship. Commander Nathan Reyes called a meeting in the strategy room to discuss their next steps. The holographic display showed various star systems and potential locations for allies. "We need to find more support," Reyes said, his voice firm. "The Zorathi are too powerful for us to take on alone. There's a distress signal from a nearby planet. It could be a human colony or potential allies. Captain Stone, I want you to investigate." Captain Stone nodded. "Understood. We'll prepare for immediate departure." The Elysium set course for the source of the distress signal. As they approached the planet, they detected signs of life and structures on the surface. The planet appeared to be a harsh, arid world, with rugged terrain and limited vegetation. The landing party, led by Captain Stone, included Dr. Mills and a squad of Marines for protection. As they descended in a shuttle, they saw the remnants of a makeshift settlement surrounded by defensive barriers. Smoke rose from several points, indicating recent battles. Upon landing, they were greeted by a group of wary survivors. Their leader, a rugged man named Jax, stepped forward. "Who are you and what do you want?" he demanded, his eyes scanning the newcomers suspiciously. Captain Stone raised her hands in a gesture of peace. "We're from the Elysium. We've come to help. We received your distress signal." Jax studied them for a moment before nodding. "We could use the help. The Zorathi have been attacking us relentlessly. Come inside and we'll talk." Inside the settlement's main building, Jax explained their situation. "We've been here for years, hiding from the Zorathi. We've managed to survive, but it's been tough. Food and medical supplies are running low, and our defenses are failing." Dr. Mills examined some of the injured survivors, his medical expertise coming in handy. "We can provide medical aid and some supplies," he said, "but we'll need your help as well. We're planning to strike back against the Zorathi and reclaim Earth. We need every ally we can get." Jax looked thoughtful. "We've fought the Zorathi for a long time. We know their tactics, their weaknesses. We'll join you, but we need to take care of our people first." Captain Stone agreed. "We'll help fortify your defenses and provide medical assistance. Once you're stabilized, we can discuss our next steps." Over the next few days, the Elysium crew worked tirelessly to strengthen the colony's defenses and provide much-needed medical care. Bonds began to form between the crew and the colonists, united by a common enemy and a shared goal. During a strategy meeting, Jax revealed valuable information about a rival alien faction known as the Tarkani. The Tarkani are also enemies of the Zorathi. "We've had skirmishes with them, but they might be willing to join forces against a common foe." Commander Reyes saw an opportunity. "If we can form an alliance with the Tarkani, it would significantly boost our chances. Captain Stone, Jax, I want you to make contact with the Tarkani and propose a truce." With a renewed sense of purpose and new allies by their side, the crew of the Elysium prepared for the next phase of their mission. The fight for Earth was far from over, but they now had the beginnings of a coalition that could challenge the Zorathi's dominance. Back on the Elysium, the command center buzzed with activity as Dr. Mills and Finn Parker pored over the data they had retrieved from the Zorathi patrol ship. The holographic display in the center of the room showed a detailed map of Earth's current defense grid, highlighting potential weak points. "This is it," Dr. Mills said, pointing to a cluster of satellites in low Earth orbit. "These relay stations control the primary defense systems. If we can disable them, we can create an opening for our forces." Commander Reyes nodded, contemplating the plan. "It's a risky move, but it's our best shot. We'll need to send in a small team to infiltrate and disable the satellites. Once that's done, we can launch a full-scale assault on the Zorathi strongholds." Captain Stone, standing at the edge of the room, stepped forward. "I'll lead the infiltration team. We can use one of our stealth shuttles to get close without being detected. Finn, we'll need you to handle the technical side of the operation." Finn nodded, determination in his eyes. "I'll make sure those satellites go offline. We just need to get close enough to access their control systems." Dr. Mills, ever the planner, added, "We'll need precise timing. Once the satellites are down, the window of opportunity will be short. We should coordinate with Jax's forces on the ground and ensure they are ready to move as soon as we disable the defenses." Commander Reyes agreed. "Very well. Captain Stone, assemble your team. We'll brief the rest of the crew and our allies. This is our moment." Captain Stone assembled her team, including Finn Parker, Jax, and a squad of elite Marines. They suited up in advanced combat gear, designed to blend into the darkness of space. The stealth shuttle, equipped with cloaking technology, awaited them in the hangar. As they boarded the shuttle, Captain Stone addressed her team. "Remember, this mission is critical. We disable those satellites, or our entire plan falls apart. Stay focused, stay sharp, and we'll get through this." The shuttle launched silently, cloaked and nearly invisible to Zorathi sensors. As they approached Earth's orbit, the tension in the cabin grew. Captain Stone kept a close eye on the readings, ensuring they remained undetected. Finn worked on his console, preparing the necessary tools to hack into the Zorathi systems. "We're coming up on the first relay station," he announced. "I'll need about 10 minutes to override their security protocols once we're in range." Captain Stone nodded. "Everyone get ready, we're going in hot." The shuttle approached the first satellite, drifting close enough for Finn to establish a connection. He plugged in his device, fingers flying over the keys. "I'm in. Just need a few more minutes." Suddenly, a proximity alert blared. Zorathi drones patrolling the area had detected the shuttle despite its cloaking. "We've got company," Jack shouted, gripping his weapon. Captain Stone acted quickly. "Marines, engage the drones. Finn, keep working. We need those satellites down." The Marines opened fire, their advanced weaponry taking down several drones in quick succession. However, more drones swarmed in, drawn by the activity. The shuttle rocked with the impacts of enemy fire. Finn remained focused, even as the battle raged around him. "Almost there. Just a little more," he typed furiously, bypassing layers of security. "Got it. First satellite is down. Moving to the next." The team fought their way to the second satellite, the intensity of the battle increasing. Captain Stone coordinated the defense, her calm demeanor inspiring her team. They reached the next relay station and Finn repeated the process, working against the clock. With the second satellite disabled, the team moved on to the final target. The Zorathi resistance was fierce, but the Marines held their ground, protecting Finn as he completed his work. "Last one done," Finn exclaimed, as the final satellite went offline. "The defense grid is down. We did it." Captain Stone activated her communicator. "Elysium, this is Stone. The satellites are down. Commence the assault." The team quickly retreated to their shuttle, evading the remaining drones and returning to the Elysium. As they docked, the main assault began, with Allied forces launching a coordinated attack on Zorathi strongholds across the planet. The Elysium's crew watched from the bridge as their allies moved into position. Captain Stone, Finn, and Jax joined Commander Reyes, who gave the order to proceed. "All units, engage. This is our chance to reclaim Earth." The battle for Earth had begun in earnest, and the Elysium's crew had struck the first decisive blow. The path to liberation was now open, and the final phase of their mission was underway. Captain Maya Stone's team had just returned from their mission, but there was no time for rest. The Elysium crew quickly launched the next phase, infiltrating the Zorathi strongholds on Earth. Captain Stone, Jax, and Finn Parker prepared to deploy once more, this time aiming to gather intelligence and spark resistance movements in key occupied cities. Their first target was New York City, now a grim shadow of its former self. Zorathi structures towered over the cityscape, casting long shadows over the enslaved human populace. The team donned civilian disguises to blend in with the human workers. Using intel gathered from their previous mission, they navigated the city's underground network to avoid Zorathi patrols. As they moved through the city, the harsh realities of Zorathi rule became evident. Humans, visibly malnourished and exhausted, toiled under the watchful eyes of Zorathi overseers. Public executions and brutal punishments were commonplace, designed to crush any spirit of rebellion. They made contact with a local resistance cell led by Sarah Harlow, a former teacher turned fierce freedom fighter. Her network operated in the deepest shadows, conducting sabotage and gathering intelligence. "We've been waiting for an opportunity like this," Sarah said, her eyes burning with determination. "The people are ready to rise up, but they need a spark." Captain Stone nodded. "That's why we're here. We need to coordinate a series of strikes to weaken the Zorathi's hold and rally the people." Sarah led them to a hidden command center, where they planned their next moves. The targets were carefully chosen: key Zorathi infrastructure, communication hubs, and supply depots. The resistance would strike simultaneously, maximizing chaos and disrupting Zorathi control. Finn worked on rigging old broadcasting equipment to hack into the Zorathi communication network. "If we can broadcast a message of resistance, it will ignite hope and show the people they are not alone," he explained. As they prepared for the operation, the team witnessed the depths of human suffering. They saw families torn apart, children orphaned, and elderly citizens struggling to survive. These sights only strengthened their resolve. On the night of the operation, small teams fanned out across the city. Explosions rocked key installations, and resistance fighters clashed with Zorathi forces in the streets. Finn successfully hijacked the communication network, broadcasting a message of unity and resistance. People of Earth, rise up. The time to fight back is now. We are not alone, and we will reclaim our home. The broadcast spread like wildfire, igniting uprisings across the city. Civilians joined the resistance fighters, and for the first time in decades, the Zorathi were on the defensive in New York City. With New York City in upheaval, Captain Stone and her team regrouped with Sarah Harlow's resistance fighters. The success of the operation had galvanized support, but the Zorathi were far from defeated. The team knew that the key to ultimate victory lay in uniting the scattered resistance movements across the globe. Dr. Aaron Mills had continued analyzing the Zorathi data and made a significant discovery: a hidden underground resistance network, much larger and more organized than anyone had realized. This network was led by a legendary figure known only as the Phantom, whose real identity was a closely guarded secret. The Phantom's network has been operating under the radar, coordinating efforts and gathering intel, Dr. Mills explained. If we can make contact and combine forces, we have a real chance to launch a global uprising. Using encrypted channels, they sent a message to the Phantom. After tense hours of waiting, a response came through with coordinates for a meeting in the ruins of London. Captain Stone, Jax, and Sarah set out, navigating the dangerous occupied territories with the help of local resistance cells. In the heart of London, they found an old underground bunker, heavily guarded by resistance fighters. Inside, they finally met the Phantom, a woman named Lila Varys, who had been orchestrating the global resistance from the shadows for decades. Lila was a master tactician with an intimate understanding of Zorathi strategies. "We've been waiting for the right moment to strike," she said. "Your actions in New York have provided that moment. The people are ready, but we need to hit the Zorathi where it hurts the most." Captain Stone laid out the plan to disable key Zorathi installations across the globe, using the data and resources at their disposal. "We need coordinated strikes on their command centers, supply lines, and communication hubs," she said. "If we can disrupt their operations, we can throw them into disarray and give our forces the upper hand." Lila agreed and shared her own intel, revealing the locations of hidden Zorathi strongholds and vulnerable supply routes. With this combined knowledge, they devised a comprehensive plan for a global uprising. The coordinated assault began at dawn, with resistance cells around the world launching simultaneous attacks. Explosions lit up the skies over major cities as Zorathi installations were targeted. Communication networks were hacked, broadcasting messages of rebellion and hope. In the chaos, Captain Stone and her team led a daring raid on a major Zorathi command center in London. The fighting was intense, with the Zorathi throwing everything they had at the resistance. But the human fighters, driven by the hope of freedom, pushed forward relentlessly. As the battle raged, Finn managed to infiltrate the command center's mainframe, accessing critical data and relaying it to resistance leaders worldwide. This data provided invaluable tactical advantages, allowing the resistance to outmaneuver the Zorathi and gain control of key strategic points. The turning point came when Captain Stone and her team breached the central control room, confronting the Zorathi commander. The fight was brutal, but with coordinated efforts, they managed to overpower the alien leader and secure the facility. With the Zorathi command structure in disarray, the resistance forces pressed their advantage. Across the globe, Zorathi forces were driven back, their grip on Earth loosening with every passing hour. As the sun set on a day of hard-fought victories, the human resistance stood united and resolute. The battle was far from over, but the tide had turned. Humanity had taken its first steps toward reclaiming Earth, and there was no turning back. The Elysium hovered above Earth, a beacon of hope amidst the chaos below. Commander Nathan Reyes stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the planet. The coordinated strikes had thrown the Zorathi into disarray, but now came the most critical phase, the full-scale assault. "All units prepare for descent," Reyes ordered. "This is it, people. We're taking back our home." Shuttles and drop pods launched from the Elysium, carrying troops and supplies to various hotspots. Captain Maya Stone led a battalion into New York City, now a war zone as resistance fighters clashed with Zorathi forces. Her team included Dr. Aaron Mills, Finn Parker, Jax, and Sarah Harlow. As they descended, the scale of the battle became evident. Fires raged, and the sound of gunfire and explosions filled the air. The Zorathi, though disoriented, were still formidable. They had regrouped and fortified key positions, determined to hold their ground. "We need to take out their command post," Stone shouted over the noise. "Without their leadership, their troops will fall into chaos." Jax pointed to a towering Zorathi structure in the distance. "That's their main command center. It'll be heavily guarded." "We'll need a diversion," Finn suggested. "Something to draw their attention away from the main assault." Sarah nodded. "I'll lead a strike team to hit their supply lines. That should get their attention." As Sarah and her team moved out, Captain Stone coordinated the main assault. Resistance fighters poured into the streets, engaging Zorathi troops in fierce urban combat. The fighting was brutal and relentless, with both sides taking heavy casualties. Dr. Mills set up a makeshift field hospital, treating the wounded amidst the chaos. His skills were invaluable, saving countless lives and boosting the morale of the fighters. "Stay strong," he urged the injured. "We're going to win this." Meanwhile, Finn hacked into the Zorathi communication network, causing confusion and disruption among their ranks. "They're losing coordination," he reported. "Now's our chance." Captain Stone led the final push toward the command center. They fought their way through heavily fortified positions, the resistance fighters showing remarkable bravery and determination. As they approached the command center, the Zorathi launched a desperate counterattack. Explosions rocked the area, and debris rained down. Stone's team took cover, returning fire with everything they had. "We need to breach that door," she yelled. Finn rigged a series of explosives, planting them around the entrance. "Fire in the hole," he shouted, and the charges detonated, blowing the doors open. Inside, they found the Zorathi command center in chaos. Officers barked orders, trying to regain control. Stone's team stormed in, engaging in close-quarters combat. The Zorathi fought fiercely, but the resistance fighters' resolve was unbreakable. In the heart of the command center, Captain Stone confronted the Zorathi commander, a towering figure radiating menace. "Your reign ends here," she declared. The battle was intense, with Stone and the commander exchanging blows. Finally, with a decisive strike, Stone incapacitated the commander, securing the command center. "Command center secured," she reported. "New York is ours." The news spread quickly, igniting celebrations among the resistance. The tide had truly turned, and the fight for Earth gained unstoppable momentum. The victory in New York galvanized the resistance forces worldwide. Encouraged by the success, they launched coordinated assaults on other major cities, driving the Zorathi back. However, the battle was far from over, and the Zorathi were not willing to relinquish their hold on Earth easily. In Washington, D.C., the resistance faced one of their toughest battles yet. The Zorathi had fortified the city, making it a central hub for their operations. Commander Reyes, now leading the ground forces, directed a massive assault to liberate the capital. "We need to take out their central power grid," Reyes explained. "Without it, their defenses will collapse." Dr. Mills and Finn Parker joined the assault team, tasked with infiltrating and disabling the power grid. They moved through the ruins of the city, avoiding patrols and navigating through a labyrinth of destroyed buildings and makeshift barricades. As they approached the power grid, they encountered heavy resistance. The Zorathi had anticipated an attack and fortified the area with automated turrets and elite guards. "We need to take those turrets offline," Finn said, preparing his hacking tools. Under heavy fire, Finn worked to disable the turrets while Dr. Mills provided cover. The resistance fighters pushed forward, engaging in fierce combat with the Zorathi troops. The air was thick with smoke and the sounds of battle. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocked the area, sending debris flying. A Zorathi war machine, a towering mechanical beast, emerged from the smoke, its cannons blazing. "We need to take that thing down," Reyes shouted. Captain Stone and Jax led the charge, using rocket launchers and explosives to target the war machine's weak points. The beast roared, its metal frame dented and burning, But it continued its relentless assault. In the midst of the chaos, Dr. Mills was hit by shrapnel, falling to the ground. Finn rushed to his side, applying emergency medical treatment. "Stay with me, Aaron," he pleaded. Despite his injuries, Dr. Mills directed Finn to complete the mission. "You have to disable the grid," he gasped. "I'll be fine." Finn nodded, determined. He finished hacking the turrets and moved to the main power controls. With precise, calculated movements, he overloaded the system, causing a massive blackout. The Zorathi defenses flickered and died, leaving them vulnerable. "Power grid is down," Finn reported. "Move in." The resistance fighters surged forward, overwhelming the Zorathi troops. Captain Stone and Jax managed to bring down the war machine with a final well-placed rocket. The battle was won, but the cost was high. Dr. Mills, though critically injured, survived thanks to Finn's quick actions. He was rushed to the field hospital, where his condition stabilized. The victory in Washington, D.C. was a significant blow to the Zorathi, marking a turning point in the war. Across the globe, similar scenes played out. Cities were liberated one by one, and the Zorathi were forced into retreat. The sacrifices made by the resistance fighters were immense, but their courage and determination were unyielding. As the dust settled, humanity began to reclaim its world. The battles had been hard fought, and the scars would take time to heal. But the triumphs, achieved through sacrifice and unwavering resolve, heralded a new dawn for Earth. Captain Stone, Finn, Jax, and the rest of the resistance celebrated their victories, but they knew the fight wasn't over. The Zorathi still had a presence on Earth, and their final defeat would require continued effort and unity. Yet, for the first time in centuries, hope burned bright in the hearts of humanity. The battle for Earth was far from over, but the path to freedom was now clear, paved with the sacrifices and triumphs of those who dared to fight back. The global resistance had gained unstoppable momentum. As Zorathi forces continued to fall back, their grip on Earth weakened significantly. The liberation of Washington, D.C. marked a decisive victory, but the final showdown loomed on the horizon. Captain Maya Stone, now a seasoned leader of the resistance, stood with her team in the Elysium's strategy room. The holographic display showed the remaining Zorathi strongholds, their final target, the primary Zorathi command center in Los Angeles. Commander Nathan Reyes addressed the gathered leaders. "This is our last major offensive. The Zorathi have fortified their command center heavily, and this will be our toughest battle yet. But if we succeed, we can break their control once and for all." The room was filled with a determined silence. Dr. Aaron Mills, still recovering from his injuries, joined via a communication link. "We've analyzed their defenses. Their energy shields are powered by a central reactor deep within the facility. If we can disable that, their defenses will crumble." Finn Parker nodded. "I've developed an EMP device that can take out the reactor, but we'll need to get inside the facility to deploy it." Captain Stone volunteered to lead the infiltration team. Alongside her would be Jax, Sarah Harlow, and a squad of elite resistance fighters. They knew the risks, but the stakes were too high to hesitate. As the assault force prepared, the Elysium launched a diversionary attack to draw Zorathi attention away from the infiltration team. The battle began in earnest, with resistance forces clashing head-on with Zorathi troops. Under the cover of this chaos, Captain Stone's team made their way through the outskirts of Los Angeles, now a battlefield. They moved swiftly and silently, using the terrain and ruins to their advantage. The closer they got to the command center, the fiercer the resistance became. Finally, they reached the outer perimeter of the command center. It was a towering fortress, bristling with weapons and guarded by the Zorathi's elite soldiers. Using stealth tactics and synchronized strikes, the team neutralized the outer guards and breached the facility. Inside, the corridors were a maze of high-tech security systems and heavily armed patrols. Finn guided them through, disabling security cameras and hacking doors to avoid detection. They encountered pockets of fierce resistance, but their resolve carried them forward. Reaching the reactor chamber, they found it heavily guarded by Zorathi elites. A fierce battle erupted, with the team fighting for every inch of ground. Captain Stone and Jax took point. their combat skills honed by countless battles. Amidst the chaos, Finn moved to the reactor controls. He deployed the EMP device, setting the timer. EMP is set. We need to get out of here before it goes off. The team fought their way back, racing against time. Explosions rocked the facility as they made their escape. Finally, they burst out into the open, just as the EMP detonated. A massive shockwave rippled through the command center, and the energy shields flickered and died. Outside, the resistance forces pressed their attack. With the shields down, the Zorathi defenses crumbled. Commander Reyes led the charge, pushing deep into the heart of the command center. In the central control room, Captain Stone confronted the Zorathi Supreme Commander. The alien leader, towering and imposing, stood defiantly. "You have fought well, human, but this world will never be yours." Stone raised her weapon. "You're wrong. Earth belongs to humanity." The final battle was intense, a clash of wills and strength. Stone and her team fought with everything they had. In a decisive moment, Stone delivered a fatal blow to the Supreme Commander, ending his reign. The fall of the command center sent shockwaves through the remaining Zorathi forces. Disorganized and leaderless, they surrendered or fled. The battle for Earth was won. With the Zorathi defeated, Earth was free at last. The Resistance celebrated their hard-won victory, but the task of rebuilding lay ahead. Cities were in ruins, and the scars of occupation ran deep. Humanity faced the monumental task of restoring civilization and healing the wounds of war. Commander Reyes addressed the Global Resistance Network. "We've achieved a great victory, but our work is just beginning. We must rebuild our world and ensure that such oppression never happens again." Captain Stone and her team returned to New York City, now the center of the provisional government. They coordinated efforts with other liberated cities, focusing on restoring essential services, rebuilding infrastructure, and providing aid to those in need. Dr. Mills, now fully recovered, led the medical teams. "We need to address the physical and psychological wounds left by the occupation. Our priority is to heal and support our people." Finn Parker worked on repurposing Zorathi technology for civilian use. "Their tech can help us rebuild faster. We'll use their advancements to our advantage." In Washington, D.C., a global summit was held, bringing together leaders from the resistance, surviving governments, and newly liberated territories. They discussed plans for a united, peaceful future, emphasizing cooperation and mutual support. Jax and Sarah Harlow, now respected leaders, played crucial roles in integrating various resistance factions into a cohesive governance structure. "We fought together, and now we must build together," Jax declared. The process of reconciliation began as well. Former collaborators and Zorathi sympathizers were given fair trials, and efforts were made to rehabilitate rather than punish. "Justice must be tempered with mercy," Sarah insisted. "We need to move forward as one people." In a symbolic act of unity, the ruins of the Statue of Liberty were restored, its torch raised once more as a beacon of hope and freedom. The reconstruction of cities and landmarks became symbols of humanity's resilience and determination. As Earth began to heal, the Elysium and its crew prepared for their next mission. They had proven that unity and courage could overcome even the greatest of foes. Now they turned their eyes to the stars, ready to explore and ensure that humanity would never again face such a threat alone. Commander Reyes, Captain Stone, Dr. Mills, Finn Parker, Jax, and Sarah Harlow stood together, looking out at the horizon. They had forged a bond through their shared struggle, and their resolve was unbreakable. "We've reclaimed our home," Reyes said, "but our journey is far from over. We'll rebuild, we'll grow stronger, and we'll protect our future. Together." The sun set over a liberated Earth, casting a golden glow over the ruins and the rebuilding efforts. Hope and determination filled the air as humanity embraced a new dawn, united and ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. With the reconstruction of Earth well underway, the Elysium's crew and their allies focused on forging a new era of peace and cooperation. Commander Nathan Reyes and Captain Maya Stone spearheaded initiatives to unite humanity and establish alliances with friendly alien civilizations. They understood that the key to long-term security lay in building strong, cooperative relationships beyond Earth. The Elysium's first diplomatic mission took them to the Tarkani homeworld. The Tarkani had shown interest in an alliance, recognizing the mutual benefits of cooperation. The Elysium arrived in orbit around the lush green planet, its surface dotted with sprawling cities and advanced infrastructure. Commander Reyes, Captain Stone, and a delegation including Dr. Aaron Mills and Finn Parker prepared to meet the Tarkani leaders. As they descended to the planet, they marveled at the Tarkani architecture, graceful organic structures that blended seamlessly with the natural environment. They were greeted by Tarkani representatives, tall and graceful beings with shimmering, iridescent skin. Their leader, Chancellor Leora, welcomed the delegation warmly. "We have watched your struggle with great interest and admiration," she said. "It is time for our peoples to join hands and look to the stars together." The two sides held a series of diplomatic talks, discussing mutual interests, technological exchanges, and defense pacts. Dr. Mills shared medical advancements with Tarkani scientists, while Finn worked on integrating human and Tarkani technologies to enhance space travel and communication. During the talks, Captain Stone formed a close bond with Chancellor Leora, finding common ground in their commitment to peace and security. "We have both suffered under oppression," Stone said. "Together we can ensure that neither of our peoples ever face such threats again." The alliance was formalized in a grand ceremony, with representatives from both species signing the Accord of Unity. The event was broadcast across both planets, symbolizing a new era of interstellar cooperation.